Hey everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm so excited. This is a brand new adventure for 2023. Stay tuned for the name that's actually underway. I have a couple ideas for that, but I'm super excited. For those of some of y'all that follow me, y'all know that this is a new adventure that I've been wanting to do, and a couple of you guys out there know exactly what this is. But I'm very excited. My good friend Mallory is joining us. She is the first, no pressure. First guest speaker for this series, and I'm super excited. You guys, she's a good friend of mine. We go way back, even before our businesses, we go way back, and I'm just super excited to not only introduce her, but to get to know her on a little bit of a deeper level, person to person, and hopefully you guys will get something out of this. But thank y'all so much for watching us, and let's go ahead and get started.
Right.
But Mallory, thanks so much for joining us. I'm excited.
Of course.
And you guys, what we're going to do with this kind of series is just to dive a little bit deeper into not only individuals who are small business owners, but entrepreneurs. Some of these people are going to be friends of mine. And again, Mallory is one of my good friends. And we're just going to go ahead and dive in. So Mallory, tell me, to you personally, what does success mean to you?
Ooh, that's such a loaded question. So success, I've learned over the years, just collaborating with other business owners, it looks so different for everybody. For me personally, success looks like flexibility, time flexibility, money flexibility, and just being able to touch the lives of others and help them in some way, whether that's financially, educationally, motivationally. I don't even know if that's a word, but that, to me, success is just being an important role in a community of people, that you bring something to the table outside of anything, the worldly happenings, So ultimately, if somebody said, what's success to you? It is that I wouldn't have to, I can spend without checking bank accounts. I can take off and be at every kid event, family event, never have to look at the clock, and know that I am able some way to help those in need. That is what real success in my mind looks like.
Yes, I love that. And I love too the fact that, success is not, like you said, that's a loaded question. I feel like it's not the same for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I do like the idea that, success can change over time, grow within the things, that we're doing in every season of our life.
Yes, for sure.
I love that. How do you manage your time as a business owner? I know that this is actually a really huge question that I talk to a lot of my business friends, a lot of my network people, and that was something that I feel like that especially now, now that everything's a little bit different in our world and our personal lives, and I think that's pretty, again, a bit of a loaded question, but I feel like that, considering, if y'all don't know this person, the fact that she's probably not going to brag on herself by any means, so I'll do a little bit. The fact that she is a full-time mom, that definitely keep her on her toes, to say the least. Full-time mom, works full-time, entrepreneur. This girl, y'all, every corner, she's always coming up with something new. We go way back. Like I said, she's been a huge inspiration of mine. And I've just been so proud to watch her grow and build her business, and just build her lifestyle, y'all. And I love that she's incorporating her business into her lifestyle. So that, to me, is why I want to ask the next question is, with everything that you've got going on, so how do you manage your time, as an entrepreneur and business owner?
So that is a very good question, because one thing I do hear from people, especially when starting in business, is time. They feel, and I remember when I dove into building a business, I didn't have kids, and I thought I was so busy, and I was busy, but I was just busy traveling, having fun. Like, my books were filled with those types of things. And then a kid rolled in, and then another kid. Like she said, I do have 3 littles and I do work. I am an esthetician and a dental hygienist. So those are 2 careers of mine that I won't give up. Those are things I'm passionate about. And, but like I said, when I started building a business, I wanted flexibility. I wanted to know that I didn't have to go into an office or into work and still be able to pay my bills. So that was important for me, especially as kids came along, because somebody's always sick or has an event or something. Okay. Especially the more you add kids you add. So for me, time management is actually one of my favorite things to train on, because I have walked every walk of life while building a business. And, you'll hear people say that don't have kids that, you can relate to them to an extent, but in my opinion, they have all the time in the world. When you add a kid, another kid, it becomes, now you're sharing this time where you built your business, you now have people relying on you. And what I have learned is every minute needs a name. And so I used to have a planner that I would carry around, and it was written, and I loved written planners and I still love them, but in this phase of life, they're not as effective for me because I have kids and I'm carrying all their stuff. I can't carry a big planner and a big purse anymore. So now my purse has shrunk, but my task list has grown. And I actually utilize my phone calendar for everything. My phone calendar is my life because it's with me all the time. And so I look and it's like, hey, workout. I mean, everything is on there, from working out, from what phone calls, who I need to talk to, what meetings I have, what lives I need to do, where I'm working, what patients, what clients. It's everything is in there, because truth is, if I had a personal calendar and a work calendar, I'd be having to flip back and forth to say, oh wait, I can't do that over here because I already have this. Everything is combined in one spot. So nothing gets overbooked, overlooked, overstacked. I mean, for example, my dog needed his heartworm medicine today. That is on my calendar. If it is not on that calendar, it's not getting done. I'm talking from making lunches, anything, oil change, gas, groceries, like it has to be penciled in so that every hour, minute, whatever has a name. And that if you don't follow a schedule, because I have a lot of friends that used to be like so fly by the seat of their pants, but to me, they've now, the older they got and the more successful they realize like a schedule is important. A schedule is needed. Otherwise, things that you don't enjoy will get pushed to another day or never. And I also find that I enjoy my business, but I find if you can schedule in early morning things and get things accomplished early, you kind of feel free throughout the day. And nothing is more freeing than deleting it off my to-do list. As soon as it's done, it's off my calendar, so that when nothing is on my calendar, I can go to bed that night and just sleep. So for me, that is hands down the best way. Whether you are a written calendar person or a phone person, it has to be with you all the time so that you don't forget. And this is for any act of your business, whatever that may be for you. It has to be written down. It has to be, otherwise it will get pushed off. And you know what? Do the things you don't enjoy first, so then the things you do enjoy come after, and it just helps the day go by. You get it out of the way. And I mean, who really loves torturing themselves with a workout? But hey, if you do it first thing in the morning, you now feel good, right? And so I just truly believe in one calendar of all things, personal and business, so that you don't miss a beat and you're not lacking in either area.
I love that. And I don't know if you saw me looking down, but I was like just taking notes, because there were certain things that you were saying that I was like, ooh, that's like a light bulb going off, or,
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, there's a lot of power, behind certain things that we say.
Yeah.
One key thing that I did write down, that I'm like, okay, I'm going to take that with me, is I love when you said every minute has a name. Every minute has a name. And I think that's so important because, like that's me. Like I thought that honestly just one planner was going to do it for me, but I was like, it's really not, because sometimes I'm not looking at that, so I've got my calendar in my house. I've got my planner that I take with me, and then I have my phone as well. And yeah. And like, I like the fact that you were saying too, like the fact that you have your calendar on your phone, that you're setting your alarms and things like that, because I feel like that if you don't apply what you've got to do on a day-to-day basis, to a schedule or to an alarm, it's going to fall by the wayside, and we can only keep so much out here,
Yeah, I'm trying to teach my husband that. I'm like, write things down. We are old now. We have a lot more on our plate.
Yeah.
Write it down or you're going to forget.
Well, not only that, but I feel like that I have major squirrel brain. Those that know me
Yes.
personally, I have major squirrel brain. I feel like we all have a little bit of squirrel in us. No pun
Yeah.
intended. And I feel like not only that, but it's like my attention span and my nerves. And it's like, for me, I'm like, I'll remember it. I'll remember it. And
Yeah.
then I feel like this little wheel, that's going and going. And then I wonder sometimes, why I'm stressed or, about to combust or, I'm like, man, there's that one thing I needed to do, but I
What is
can't
it?
remember it.
Yeah.
Where it comes up and I'm like, oh yeah, I thought I didn't
Yeah.
write
Yeah. Yes.
it.
And one thing will remind you of another thing and you'll start doing that and you didn't finish this. And it's like, so if
Yeah.
it's on your to-do list, at least if you squirreled and went over here, you always come back to it because you got to mark it off.
Yes, or if it's like me and somebody does something or somebody says something and then it reminds me of something I needed to do that has actually absolutely nothing to do with what they said. But then it was like it gave me permission to just maybe like, check out and then not so up here. And I'm like, oh, there was that one thing I needed to do that had absolutely nothing with what our conversation was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So one thing that you were saying earlier, the way I was saying earlier is that, I love so much that, before, like you and I, like, I said earlier to the rest of the world that, you and I go back before businesses. And what I love so much is that, when we were younger, I remember watching you and, you growing, your business and you putting yourself out there. And, I love so much, to be able to watch you, take one more step, into growing. And not only I feel like who you are now as a woman, but as a mother, as a wife, as a person. And it was just so inspiring because for me, I felt like I wanted to take the leap and to do something for myself, but I didn't really know what that looked like. I didn't really know if I could even be capable of doing that. And so I feel like that it's so important, for others to have somebody like that's either in their circle or be acquainted to where, that they can get inspired, by
Absolutely.
something. And I feel like that even when we feel like that perhaps people are not watching us or, don't know, they're like, oh, they are not seeing my success or, they're not, I keep working and I keep going forward and I keep persevering, but I'm not really sure if nobody is even noticing, all the hard work that I'm putting in or, the things that, I'm accomplishing in my life, whatever that may be. I feel like just when we feel like somebody's not watching us, they actually are.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so on that note, like, I want to know, like, what inspires you? Like, is it, is it someone? Is it something? Is it multiple things?
I would say it's multiple things. I will say other success stories inspire me, or like other everyday people like you and I, seeing those people have success, knowing, okay, if they can do it, I can do it. And, I will be honest, when I started my business, I didn't want a business. I literally vividly remember the conversation I had with my mom, probably like 10 years ago, saying I enjoyed that clocking in and clocking out because as soon as I clocked out, I just was free. But like I said, that was before kids. You don't realize the expenses that come in life. And I truly believe that like God knew I needed this before I did because he knew where my life was headed and what was going to be happening. And he knew that I was going to need more finances than I could make at my 9 to 5, or I was going to need more flexibility because when I'm not at work, I'm not getting paid. And that's not going to work out if you're having to miss a bunch. And like, he knew what was coming before I did. And so I trust that fully now. At the time, I didn't know that. And I'll never forget. And if you talk to anybody from my past, they'll tell you like, they cannot believe that they don't doubt that I'm successful, but they can't believe I put myself out there because I'm very much an introvert. Like I come home, I shut the garage. Like if I could stay in my bubble, like I would. And I will say, owning a business has taught me how to become an extroverted introvert and get used to being uncomfortable, like being in an uncomfortable situation and figuring out how to make it a little bit more comfortable.
Mm.
And so I love being able to tell people that because nobody believes me that I'm an introvert. Now, if we're like besties or we know each other, like that's a different story. But in
Yeah.
a new setting, like I am the person sitting in the corner reading the room, like in my
Mhm.
own space. Like I'll go to things by myself and be 100% content. And I used to not be able to do that. So I love it watching others, and it inspires me. Like now I love breakfast, lunch, or dinner by myself. I never used to do. I never even grocery shopped by myself. When I lived back home, all my family and friends were there. I was always with somebody. So a lot over the last, I'm walking into my 9th year of building a business, and it's like just it evolves, like you said, with every different situation. And I didn't have a why that made you cry when I started. I made very good money. My husband made good money. Money was not like something I thought, oh, I need that. But truth is, money-minded people always love money. You can never have enough, because here's my thought: the more I have, the more I can give. The more I have, the more I can provide for others and myself. And so money inspires me. I'm very much money driven, and especially money that doesn't take me away from my family and stuff like that. So, other successful people that I've seen make it happen inspires me. I will say people that have overcome stuff inspires me too. But like I have a past. We all have past.
Yeah.
I don't talk about my past. My past is not the reason I
Mhm.
started my business. It is who I am today, and it's lessons I've learned. But I could have a total sob story, and I could totally put that out there, but I don't feel like that is ultimately my story. That's not why I started what I did. That's not why I keep doing what I did. If those from the past want to admire from afar, fine, great. If they want to talk still, if at a table that I don't sit at, that's fine too. Like, it's helped with growth. And I think my biggest inspiration is personal growth. And I've even told my husband that when my kids are a little bit older, I'm literally going to pay them to read personal growth books, like one a
Mhm.
month, and here's $20 or something, just so that I can know that their mind is on the right track because of the way that the world is. So, just watching people grow inspires me. And I mean, I will be blatantly honest, money inspires me, because although money doesn't provide happiness, it definitely helps make things less stressful. And I do believe, though, the more money you have, the more you are who you are. So like if you're a crappy person, you have more money, you're gonna be crappier, right? But I know I'm not a crappy person. And so like inspiration is just being able to help. And so there's things and there's people, but there's not just like one set person that just like, oh, that's it. That person inspired me and I took off. It was more of just, what do I have here? What is this? How can I do, like, what do we got going on? And when I researched and it just one thing led to another, and just doors opened, and it's been a ride. I mean, it's been a growth ride. And like, I mean, now if you don't laugh, you cry at everything, right? But it's in things like that inspire me just, and now I have little eyes watching me, I have to lead by example. And, growing up, I didn't have all the newest, nicest things, and my parents sacrificed so we could at least have, a new pair of shoes for school. And, I played sports. So I didn't always have a brand new glove or a brand new cleats or like the name top bat or whatever, but they did enough that I never felt without. And I think coming from that and seeing what my parents went through, like I wanted to make sure that like money struggles were never a thing for me. And because ultimately that can be a main stressor, even though it doesn't necessarily control your happiness, it can be a very big stressor. So, I mean, truth is those are things that inspired me to like keep going on the hard days.
Yeah. Well, and I agree too with you, because I feel like that, like, even though my focus is not solely on money in itself, I feel like that when we have a steady stream of income coming in, and if we're fortunate, blessed enough to have plus that on top of that, then it's able to then allow us to have a little bit more time for us personally, for, I feel like, mental growth, for physical growth, for us to be able to, it's almost like our brain, shuts off for just a little bit, relaxes to where it's like, okay, I don't have to be so, go, trying to make sure that everything's covered, the bills and, emergency fund backups and like
Yeah.
funds for children, and, having to, worry about those things and extra expenses for them and all the things. And I feel like that when that's coming in, we can actually then take a breath and
Mhm.
be able to, really and truly be present, be present like in the time, be present in the moment, and not have to, stress it so much. I feel like it's like the next thing,
Yeah.
or what's one more way that I can hustle, and get some
Mhm.
more to come in. And I feel
Yeah.
like too, that's built on, success as well, like built on success and having time management
Yeah.
and being able to, be not necessarily so structured, but to have a flow, and have an idea of things,
Mhm.
and not like we were saying earlier, flying by the seat of our pants and just taking it, one day at a time. We
Yes.
have to have structure, in order to be able to have, that, um, a sense of feeling comfortable and knowing, okay, everything's pre-set up to where
Mhm.
there's certain things I don't have to worry about, as much.
Yes, for sure. And I think I was just thinking, like, that's one thing, piece of advice is like, I wish people just know, like, treat your business as if it is you're clocking in and out for somebody else, because
Yeah.
so many times people think, oh, I'm working for myself. It's being your own boss. It's got its challenges. And
I
so you
agree.
have to there has to be non-negotiables, you know what I mean? And
Hmm.
reward yourself for every good thing you accomplish. I mean, hey, I accomplished this small goal today. I'm going to go get my nails done, or I'm going to go buy myself the coffee I want, or whatever it may be,
Yeah.
don't sprint too but don't be too generous with yourself, but give
Yeah.
yourself that love, like you said,
Hmm.
and it inspire, some people just want to be able to get their nails and toes done and not ask their significant other for money,
Yeah.
or they're single and parents and they need that, extra, because that's
Yeah.
a comfort and a cushion. So
I
yeah,
agree. Well, and I think like too, rewards in itself can look different across the map. It's different
absolutely.
for everybody. I mean, it can be as simple, where honestly, shouldn't even say simple, but it can be as something as someone who likes to read. So it's like, being able to order that favorite book,
Yeah.
that you've been wanting to dive into, or, like you were saying, getting your nails, getting your toes done, whatever self-care,
Hmm.
looks like for somebody, then I feel like that's important for sure, hands down, to reward ourselves. And I almost would go to the extent of saying that being a business owner, and aside from working for somebody else, brings more challenges being a
Absolutely.
business owner, I feel like, because that's where it takes more discipline, and time management.
Absolutely.
Don't have somebody, that's, and one thing for me that I know that I for sure struggled with over the last couple of years, coming from corporate America for so
Mhm.
long, was, there was structure there.
Yeah.
There was like an interview, and this is what's expected of you, and everybody robotically is going to do the same
Yeah.
thing, and this is just what we do, and you show up, and we're going to do it all over again and again and
Yeah.
again. But as and I know, when we're business owners, it's not like that. We don't have somebody that's going to present to us an email or a
Yeah.
memo, and say, all right, y'all, this is what
What
we're
we're
tackling
doing.
this week. This is what we're doing. This is what's expected. You can't leave. You can't clock out until you get this done. No, like it has to be. I have to have that mindset of I'm in my office now. Like I go into my office, I'm gonna have this time to this time, whatever that may look like for me. It differs every
Yeah.
day, but I have to get stuff done. And but what I've realized is where I reward myself is no matter what that looks like, no matter what I'm getting done, I have to be proud of the fact that I took one step further,
Mhm.
into pursuing and going and growing
Yeah.
my business.
Yes.
No, and that
Yeah.
looks different for everybody.
Yeah, for sure.
So one thing that our next question is really something that I personally love myself. I love reflecting on this, and I probably do this about once every quarter, once a year, at least once a year. Is I love the fact, because we were kind of talking about how, like everyone has a past, and
Mhm.
I feel like that our past is not like my past is not necessarily like relevant to today. Like I don't necessarily bring that in. It definitely hasn't inspired me for sure, and of course, we wouldn't be the people that we are today
Yeah.
had we not had a past. But I feel like that, one thing that's important is for us to always go back and reflect on, who we used to be. And I don't know about you, but it always blows my mind if I think about, like, for me and growing my business almost 3.5 years ago, like even though that's such a small amount of time, to me it's really not, because if I think about, like, if I was to tell my younger self like some advice, like it's crazy to think about how I was, who I was, at that point before it
Absolutely.
all began, and then who we are now. And
Mhm.
so if you could give yourself advice, your younger self, before it all began, when this was just kind of a twinkle in your
Mhm.
eye, when it was just a dream, it had, nothing was, before it all started. If you could go back and give yourself, at that point in your life, some advice, what would you say?
Um, I would tell myself to do personal development or start reading personal development books from get-go. I will admit it took me about 6 months into building a business to realize I had to grow my mind for my business to go to the next step. And I never was like a negative person, but I was always just a realist, which can sometimes come off as negative. Some things you need to be real about, but some things. And so I I wish I would have read my first book sooner. And
Mhm.
so that's one thing whenever I'm mentoring somebody is I like instantly am like, you've got to plug in. And I'm not saying do that all the time, but I truly believe personal growth equals business growth naturally because you become more confident, you become wiser, and you implement things you learn or takeaways. And so I wish I would have started my personal development sooner
Mhm.
in my business. That's one thing I vividly remember is it was like 6 months in and I was just things were growing, but I was like, what is happening here? Like I needed that mental takeaway for a moment. And I always say, don't get lost in just doing personal growth because that's not income producing. But in
Mhm.
reality, if you take the things you learn and implement it,
Yeah.
then it becomes income producing. And
Mhm.
so that is literally one thing I would have told myself sooner is personal development, because then the more confident you get, the less you care about what others say.
Yeah.
One thing
Yeah.
I, also would say is you're doing something right if you're getting haters and you got to drink that like haterade, but that can't be what you rely on for motivation because at some point you're not going to get haters. You're not going to get as many. And that can't be your only driving force. It's like, oh, he said I couldn't, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
But that comes with personal development is I'd rather somebody bash somebody like me who can handle it and then
Mhm.
someone who truly takes what these people are saying and they dwell on it.
Yeah.
And yes, everybody's human, we all have feelings, so I'm not saying going out there and be mean to people, but like when you become so like okay, like that's a personal problem, you learn
Mhm.
like misery loves company, nobody doing better than you is going to bash you. When you learn these things early on, it just nothing, you're unstoppable. And so I wish that is something that I would have learned like from day one versus 6 months in and like trying to figure out what's going on.
Yes, I love that. Well, and I
Yeah.
agree too. Like you can do as much self-development and self-growth and all the things that you want. But like you said, I agree. Like until you're putting it down into action, it's not income producing. You're wasting your time. And I feel like that it's important to, do a little bit at a time and then
Yeah.
apply it, like you said, as you go. Because that's when you're gonna see like the results. And I agree. Like I feel like and I too, like I'm the same way. Like I wish that I would have too like been able to take those tools in the very beginning, because who knows where each of us
Yeah.
would at this point. But I feel like that is important with self-growth, because when you're leaning in and you're, looking into ways to develop and grow within yourself, whether it's your business, whether it's your, your mental self, whatever the case may be, I feel like it's important because that's how along the way you're going to develop and grow that tough skin, like you were
Yeah.
saying. And, there's always going to be people out there, the naysayers, the haters. But yeah, for sure. Like me back then would have just crumbled up like I did and
Yeah.
cried and, been upset and then taken it super personal. But me
Yeah.
now, it's like, I'm not going to apologize. Like, this is, and I can't say that I just woke up one day and was like, this is who I am.
Yeah.
No, like this takes work. This
Yeah.
is something that and it's an everyday effort, for work.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
because of it, it gets us that mentality of, not apologizing, not going to give up, going to keep pursuing, keep going forward, even when, days are not going to look the same for us, or seasons are not going to look the same, but
Mhm.
it is going to fuel us and give us the drive, to just keep going on.
For sure, for sure.
So for 2023, what does 2023 look like for you? Because like we said earlier, I mean, I'm excited. I don't even know if you have anything that's coming up here, that you're, in that brain of yours, if there's any, I know there's always something, that you're thinking about, or, this is in the back of your mind that you're, tinkering with or wanting to, come up and develop. But what's going on for you for 2023, so the world can know?
So there's a lot of things coming in 2023, but one of the biggest things I promised myself was growth in every area of my life, my growth in my faith, growth in my family, my marriage. Business can take a toll on relationships if you don't set boundaries, schedule times, bring them into your world. So growth in my businesses, just growth in general is the goal for 2023 as a person, as a business owner, as a leader, as a mentor, as a esthetician, as a hygienist, as a mom, a wife, in my faith, everything. Like growth. Like I am here to learn, soak it in, and do more. And that's when in all aspects of my life. And so if I'm not growing, I'm dying, and kind of like a tree. And so I want my roots deep, and I want it to flourish up top. So that is my plans for 2023.
I love that. Well, and for me too, and thank you for sharing that, because I like my word of the year, I usually don't do that, but like my word of the year, it almost falls right into line with that. It's my word of the year is rebuild. Yeah. And so I think for 2023, for sure, like I can agree more that growth, like growth within everything, but more importantly, even for me too, is like growth within not only my marriage, but just relationships in general. Yeah, because I feel like that's more importantly, like to me, the backbone, of everything. Because if that's running smoothly and we're doing the work in there, then almost everything else.
For sure. For sure.
And if you want to, you don't have to, but if anybody's watching and if they want to connect with you or follow you, is there a handle that you want to share? Is there, there's somewhere that they can connect with you? And
so on all my platforms, it's under, you can search Mallory Pratt Donnelly. My Instagram's at Mallory Pratt Donnelly. My Facebook pages are all that. My YouTube's that. My TikTok's that. You'll find different things on different platforms, but absolutely you can follow me on any social media. I love to laugh, so you will find a lot of funny things and sarcasm. I make lots of mom jokes, and so Mallory Pratt Donnelly, because there is other Mallory Pratts out there. I don't know if there's any other Mallory Donnellys, but I had to throw that word in there because some people know me before I was married and some know me after. So gotta always be a Pratt. So I'd love for the follows and the support. And I hope whoever does see this is inspired by something, takes something away to implement and grow from. And thank you for doing this, Meg.
Yeah, thank you so much. And it's been a pleasure having you, Mallory. I hope you have an incredible day. And thanks so much for stopping in. And I'm sure I'll be talking to you sooner than later.
I know. All right. Bye, girl.
Bye, girl.